Hello ladies and gents, I am Devon, and welcome back to From the Depths Ashes of the Empire Community Edition. So, in this episode, I am going to probably losing a load of forces against the Onyx Watch, but to that end we have a load of new designs, quite a few in fact, as these are all planes submitted by Monk Lizard quite some time ago, which unfortunately I didn't deploy against the White Flares or Lightning Hoods. But, first of all, we're bringing back the Rolling Crampage Gatling by Charcharodon. So I did say that we'd bring this force back to face off against the Onyx Watch. So let's see how it faces off against a Sentinel now. So it fires its huge amount of barrage there. And, well, it doesn't have to tank a lot of shots, which is really rather nice. Because that is exactly what we need when facing the Onyx Watch, is something to be able to tank a lot of strikes. Unfortunately, this might end up using all of our material, which is less than ideal, as I don't think that if we do have a lot of material used, we'll actually be able to maintain conflict with all three factions at once, but we will see how it goes. Otherwise, the Rolling Crampage is doing rather nicely, doing a lot of damage to the Onyx Watch craft there. Obviously it's not perfect, but then it is facing off against the Onyx Watch, which have a lot of heavy armour. In fact, these designs are pretty evenly matched in terms of their build quality. The Onyx Watch have a huge number of blocks, as does a two-part design, and both are armed with a lot of crown cannons. And yeah, there we go. The Rolling Crampage is at last winning. It is taking a little while, but it is going to eventually win in this little battle here, which is really rather cool. But that's not all we're going to be deploying this episode. Oh no. Next we have one of my designs, the ADEF Flak Cannon. This was an experiment I did when I learned about some of the changes in explosion mechanics. That is, that the full blast radius is now utilised for seeing if an explosion hits a target, and then essentially like an explosion originates from there. That means that a pure flak cannon, which this is, has a ridiculously huge blast radius. This is a 180 meter radius blast flak cannon, which means it will hit a lot of things. Unfortunately, it is only flak, so it doesn't do much damage. But the reason is, let's say, spawn in a lot of copperheads. All of these copperheads here destroyed in a single strike from the flak cannon there. All of them dead, just like that. And that is a lot of copperheads to destroy in a single go. And that's why I'm going to be deploying this against the Twin Guard. Because it is able to hit so many craft at once, it doesn't matter how many drones are being deployed against me. I will be able to destroy them all. Or well, maybe not destroy them all, but hit them all in a single strike. Though I did manage to miss this one here, which means it's going to have the full brunt of a flak cannon land right against it. Very simple design, it's a fairly slow rate of fire, but I'm hoping it will do very, very well against the Twin Guard. So now on to the primary forces going to be added in this episode, the flyers from Monk Lizard. So we have the Epsilon to start with. So this looks like it has quite a few missiles, top and bottom there, and also, are they all cram cannons? Wow, this has a lot of bombs. Yeah, 10 cram bombs and a load of missiles there. So we'll send this against one of the Onyx Watch craft. So it's a very nice aesthetic, much like the other Monk Lizard craft here. Just waiting for it to fire its weapon systems. So it does have a little bit of tendency to swing past its target a little bit. But it is travelling very, very fast, which is rather nice. Coming over, and there goes the cram bombs. All falling a little bit to the side, but that is because its target is circle strafing quite rapidly, so it is unlikely that they'll be able to hit. So in fact, let's destroy the enemy vehicles and go for a building. Let's go for a large house. Here comes the bomber in for its run, and it's going to fire? Nope. Let's see what happens on the next pass. Might not have reloaded just yet. His design comes in for another pass, and there comes the cram, and just completely annihilates the building with high accuracy crams there. So it will have a little bit of difficulty against moving targets, but if the Onyx Watch are attacking something else than a stationary, this design is going to prove incredibly useful and very, very potent. Next we have the Bomber Sky Blaster. So this one here has some landing gear. It's nice. It has an APS at the top. What sort of round is that firing? So this fires some AP frag. Nice. An AP frag HE. Interesting. Nice little simple round there. And where is the actual blaster? Let's send this against the Onyx Watch, see how it performs. Quite a nice profile, side profile there as it turns. See how though it performs in its bombing run. Since it does have other weapon systems. Here's its weapon systems. Completely I completely missed it. It has a load of mines. So it has explosive, APN, magnet, radar seeker mines. So we'll be able to launch those and fling them at the enemy. As well as a simple machine gun as well. Against a single target though like this, it is unlikely to actually deploy those mines. And the mines do deploy, just it's trying to make sure they hit the target. It's going to be a little bit tricky, particularly against, as I said, a single target. Let's go and try it against one of the buildings and see how it functions there. It comes in its bombing run. And did it fire? No, it didn't. These bombs seem to be having a little bit of difficulty firing. They've tried them a couple of times and it's not actually launched very well. Not too sure what's causing that to not fire, which is a bit of a shame. Well, hopefully it'll actually perform in the actual battles, but it doesn't seem to be performing here, which is, as I said, a bit of a shame. And it should be quite effective, but Sky Blaster may be broken. But we'll carry on with the rest of the showcase. Next up, we have the Volterson by Monk Lizard. Seems very slow compared to the others, but maybe it's just because it's ramping up. It has what looks like a lot larger cram than the first design. Looks like they have a bit more oomph to them, which is quite nice. There's a good amount of components internally. Again, going to be sending them against a couple of houses, and that just because, again, against moving targets, cram bombers just don't hit that often. So that I'm hoping the ground forces will keep everything nice and stable while the bombers come on in their attack runs. Here comes the flyer coming in, and there goes the cram, doing a ridiculous amount of damage as expected from a cram bomber. And just in that single strike, it is already 2 damaged. Excellent. So a very good bomber design, again with the crams, so as long as the crams hit, it will do insane amounts of damage. Next up we have the Meteor. Quite a bit of a cheaper design, 17k. This looks like it might be more of an air superiority fighter. Something of an escort to the designs already seen. And yes, that looks like it could very well be the case. So we'll send it against some of the Twin Guard flyers, I think. There are 3 of the Twin Guard drones. And this is now just travelling around at its fair pace, coming around in the attack run. Dodging the majority of those simple autocannons really readily. Fires its missiles, and it does actually get hit slightly there. It didn't look like it fired its cannons too much, but it did kind of take a detonation strike, which is a bit of a pain. Doing a nice bit of damage there, but it looks like it did take a bit of a damaging strike early on in the fight. So I'll remove it and then try it again against something a little bit simpler. Just when Gypsies one of their wanders, just so I can actually see those cannons fire, get a rough indication of how tough they are. I don't want to fire its cannons then, but it did use its missiles to essentially disable the wander in one go. Well, the AI is just about alive. The wood saved it, it seems. All very, very fast designs, these, which was very nice against the Onyx Watch, because it will mean that the Onyx Watch will not be able to hit them at all with their cram cannons, unless essentially fly into the cram cannons, or if I do something else really stupid, like spawning them under the ground. So, probably they'll die very, very quickly. And there go the actual cannons themselves. Aiming a little bit high, but that is because the one has been destabilized somewhat. I think the main weapon systems of Namidia is going to be those missiles, so they are very, very potent, and those little cannons are more going to be that, more of a little cannon side weapon. But continuing on, we have the White Moon, the 14K design. Still really nice aesthetics on all of these designs. This one looks like it could fly even higher, but it looks like it is only armed with missiles and not a combination. So we'll send this one against Wander to see how those missiles actually perform. I know it's only a wooden target, but I'd like to see how things work and how they fly. So it's a very fast design, 120 meters per second, one of the fastest designs actually I've had submitted in this Let's Play. And there we go, firing a few weapons there, and then it ducked down to fire its missiles but didn't actually launch them, it seems. Well, here's come a few. And there come the missiles now. It took a little while for it to line up. And nice solid hits from those missiles. But its main defense is just how ridiculously fast it is, being able to avoid almost every attack which will be thrown against it. And slightly erratic movement as well, which also helps in that regard. The only problem is that going so fast it may end up colliding with something it is attacking, which would be a bit of a problem. It also looks like we have a couple of very small craft, the Zaki and Zako. And Zaki having what looks like a couple of very small bombs, seen on one of the previous designs, yep. Send this against one of the buildings. And she'll probably spawn a couple of these ones anyway, so a couple of Zaki. And what about the Zako? So the Zaki have little APM bombs, and these ones have actual missiles. So little missiles and little drone ones. So yeah. So Zaki have bombs, and Zako have missiles there. Ooh, and actually a little cram cannon. Ah, the Zaki has a little cram cannon hidden there. I thought it was just part of the landing gear, but nope. Mare's got a cram cannon as well. Nice. Anything else hidden on the Zako? Unlikely with that cost. But no, it's just got a couple of nice little missiles there. That's going to prove very nice as a little swarmer vehicle to help out with the rest of the bomber craft. So yeah, very looking forward to seeing how all of these perform in the campaign. Though the Sky Blaster, a little bit concerned if it is actually broken, but its other weapon systems are quite nice. Annoyingly, one of our radar satellites is being attacked by a load of drones, it looks like. Yes, a load of neurons and irritations. They're going to be a real irritation to fight. The Comnet is moving right up there. So the first computer force, I'm actually going to rename this to the Twin Guard. The second, I'm going to rename to the Onyx Watch. And then the third is going to be renamed to the Steel Empire, because these are the forces they are being designed to kill. So Onyx Watch is going to have all the new forces. Let's load in all the vehicles. Well, I couldn't delay the battle any longer, and the radar balloon is actually being attacked. So that is annoying, and it might end up being killed. But let us send in the rest of our forces of the Steel Empire force, which is going to be a touch irritating. But let's move them all up. Okay, let us begin this battle. So, I'm not too worried about losing too much in this fight, but it is going to take quite a while because the drones are very, very annoying. The name Irritation is certainly very apt for these designs. There's a lot of missiles firing around, and I was a little bit more concerned, but as always, missiles are essentially very, very weak in terms of damage, as they don't hit very often, even at the best of times. And while we do have a fair number of flares able to distract them, and really, the vehicles are very, very tough at repairing. Type F there, though, is not moving. I have a look to see if it has got materials. It does. And also just making sure everything it does have fuel, because I don't have the situation where we'll do a fight without a load of fuel. We are a little bit down on anti-aircraft vehicles, as well always I suppose in this Let's Play, for taking out these drones, so I think spawning in a laser craft would definitely help out in this regard, though this force is not really meant to be dealing with that many air units. Still, laser craft or flak cannon thing would help take out a load of these drones, because they are quite irritating. Though actually maybe a laser would be good against the Steel Empire as well, since they do have a few small helicopters and other things there. Because the Shulker's different projectiles moving in, doing a fair amount of damage, and then the Delta Planet is also dealing a fair amount. But it seems like the missiles from all our vehicles is actually the main component being utilised to defeat these Twin Guard drones. They're able to keep up with the erratic movement and eventually strike them. And a couple of strikes against these drones does essentially destabilise them enough to make them fall out the sky, where they are easy pickings for the rest of our forces. Thermal helicopters just firing its missiles and essentially causing the majority of the damage there. And all these little missiles again flying around, and then they just fall into a wall of missiles as they dodge some, and then it falls out the sky and crashes into oblivion. Valpan finishing it off with its hail of fragmentation projectiles there, finalising and confirming the destruction of this force. Oh, look at that, the Shulker just survived. Oh goodness, that was close. And drones are really annoying to fight. And I want you to get all the materials you can get to go repair this force over here as quickly as possible. See if I can actually get all these pre-war craft up and going before the battle begins. So the logistics craft get close, but not too close that actually decides to join in. Darn, the pre-wars did not manage to finish before the battle began. Well, I'll spawn everything in, get ready for the combat, but that is going to be a bit irritating. So this force has 28 in, because sometimes when these half-built spawns come in, they do actually get destroyed, and it's quite irritating. We'll begin the battle. And first of all, we're actually going to retreat all of the part builts, because otherwise they will just despawn and everything will go wrong. So they've all retreated away, and I did not check where everything was spawning. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I forgot to check the spawning. I was too messed up about making sure the things which weren't built weren't spawned in, and I didn't check that everything is at point blank range with tram cannons. Whoops. Well, let's see what happens. Yep, seeing what happens indeed, and this is going to be quite a messy initial barrage. See there, the huge amount of tram cannons being flung towards our craft. And they do have land systems, so I'm suddenly very, very concerned about facing these Rhino. So I decide that it is actually probably best for me to try and capture them as quickly as possible, since that will reduce the number of casualties sustained in this battle. So I move in, trying to get into the Rhino, but it is a very large craft and is essentially a heavy armor brick surrounded in metal, so it's just not working very well. And so for a quick fight, I essentially give up, observing the battle a little bit more and noticing essentially we are taking horrific numbers of casualties, very, very likely to lose. So there's a bit of a pile-up of tanks here, so I take this opportunity to get in and onto the Rhino itself and try and break my way in. But as I said before, it is a heavy armor brick, and trying to find a way in is really, really difficult. So try and take out some of the turret components, and eventually through that I find access into the core internals. Just quickly out observing the battle and seeing, yep, we are losing. Pretty much most of the designs in play have been destroyed. I can't find the AI straight away, so I take the opportunity to destroy all of the actual components of the cram cannons, blowing them up very, very rapidly, since they are, high explosive. Makes it quite easy. Though I am actually now destroying my own craft, as the colours did actually change at this point, I just didn't notice. And I can colour them in, and yep, I destroy a load of my own vehicle from the inside out. After that though, the last remaining design is disabled, and the few remaining tanks on our side quickly finish it off. And so we eventually get a victory against the Onyx Watch. Unfortunately didn't observe it on the overview. So that was a messy battle. I think I might have actually destroyed the Rhino gun while I still owned it. I think that's what happened there. But it was a very nasty load of casualties, and so I didn't really showcase them all, but I was trying to prevent it from me being a total wipe, and for that, going into first person is kind of required. But what did we lose? We lost tank. We lost the B2 Vulture. We lost both AA tanks. We lost the TA3. Both the walk prototypes. The ARA Heavy Fighter. Tank 2. So Tank 1 and Tank 2. And everything else, well, was either being built or was being utilised there. And we did lose the Rhino as well, but we did capture it for a lot of materials. And that was a lot of casualties. Lost 9 vehicles in that bout there. Well, looks like the battle couldn't happen much longer with these guys over here. Let's move it over to here and make sure the spawn is correct this time. And it looks like it is. Though we aren't facing too many. So it looks like it's a load of multi-spawn designs we're facing off against this time. So, let us begin the battle. Not too many twin guard vehicles here, though they are all sub-spawns. We have a couple of mechs and then what looks like a small drone carrier. Even so, they do have lasers, which is a bit surprising, and they seem to be focused very heavily on the Shadow Swarmers, which I was very concerned about, but the Shadow Swarmers are taking very, very little damage. Obviously, all those light blocks are not taking the hits from the lasers, so they take a couple of blocks of damage and then carry on being destroyed there. I didn't spawn the turret of the land ship very close together, so it is just floating in midair as it tries to find its hull using the docking clamps there. And now we're basically already won, but the huge amount of repair of the Twin Guard is just extending this battle out. So we do almost lose the Basilisk. It looks like the main gun got exploded, but otherwise not much has happened. So just quickly speed on, just trying to find out where on earth everything is, because it is taking ages to kill everything, because for the aforementioned repair capabilities of the Twin Guard. But eventually they all get destroyed. Right, so in that little battle, not much happened really. We took a bit of damage. One thing I did forget to do is add in the flat cannon, so I've done that now. The Basilisk took a fair bit more damage than I was expecting, but the Shadow Swarmers tanked a remarkable amount, so that's rather nice. Unfortunately, this force is still really hurting. Steel Empire force, though, you move out to attack a new tile, I think. Because you can actually take out tiles quite handily. Actually, no, yeah, take out this tile, because I want to try and take out these ones down here. And also get those salvaged there, which would be very nice. Okay, so the Onyx Watch coming in. I feel like I should really attack with this force here. But equally, if I do, I have a nasty feeling they'll probably lose. In fact, to help bolster them, I'm going to add in my laser craft. So, work progress, laser hover. It is not pretty in the slightest, but it is effective. Right, so with the laser hover built, let's go and attack another tile. Yep, lightning hoods over here. Let's quickly do battle with these guys. So the laser emplacement did what they do best, completely annihilating the attack force there. And so let's see how the Onyx Watch force is doing now. Looks like the Onyx Watch is deciding that they don't like the Twin Guard force either. So that's a little bit concerning. Right, so we have 3 battles about to occur. We have the Onyx Watch, another Onyx Watch with the Twin Guard, and the Steel Empire with the Steel Empire. I think we'll go for the Steel Empire first of all, because we haven't seen the Steel Empire yet this episode, and that should be fairly quick. So everything's set up nicely. Let us go. So the battle begins here, and we're doing quite well straight away. Though, again, the Type F just not seem to be moving. A load of missiles from all of these tanks get launched straight up into the air, and with a load of other missiles all being flung around in all sorts of directions. Type F getting heavily hit there. I think it might have been disabled, but it is not functional. As you consider it may have been broken, or like the lure boxes are actually not working at the moment in my game. It does happen on rare occasion if you don't clear out the lure thing and just check out everything. But tanks doing okay, but it's taken a few bits of damage so far, and without the repair capabilities of the Repair Heli and the Type F, this is actually very painful. The enemy tanks of the Steel Empire are not that strong, but without that repair capabilities, they are taking a significant amount of damage. The Shulker there taking a few nasty hits, essentially almost being disabled. I seem to notice a few things are shooting at destroyed enemies, so make sure everything is ignoring enemy salvage, because that is a very annoying feature when it occurs. This tank is getting really heavily defeated, and I am a bit concerned it's going to get despawned. Just get disabled. And so I hop over to the Shulker though, because that is about to be destroyed. So I was going to hop over to the heavy tank, but yes, the Shulker is about to be annihilated. Fortunately, it's currently being repaired by one of the Jadas's tanks, which is very good. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it's going to be enough to save the Shulker, since it is still very low. But here we have the Delta Plan anti-air falling down. A real sad moment watching this as it disintegrates into confetti. It was a very long-standing design, which is now defeated, bringing up our total of destroyed anti-air up even higher. And there goes the Shulker as well, about to be disintegrated, sitting at 54% before it was defeated. So a couple moments longer with the repair tentacles and it would have stayed alive. So unfortunately we lose another anti-air tank. We seem to have lost a lot. Keep losing them constantly it seems. But that's how it is, I guess. And see here, this is the repair lead, just not moving. So I think Lua is actually broken in my game at the moment. I hopefully will be able to have it fixed for the next episode. So there's probably something very simple. There's probably a conflict in Lua code in the Lua boxes. So I'm just checking as to why that might be the case. I thought they might be out of fuel or whatever, but I do think it is a problem with the actual Lua scripts themselves not having loaded properly. Unfortunately, due to the way the game was going at this point, I hadn't managed to get all the backup saves due to all the combats flinging me in without realising it was ready to go. So I wasn't in a very good position to restart certain combats based on just little bugs and glitches like that. Still, the battle was eventually a victory, and we did only lose a couple of craft, but that is 2 more craft than I wanted to. So, after that battle, we lost 2 anti-aircraft tanks, the Shilka, and also we lost the Delta Plan. A very sad day indeed. Though, I noticed the actual Flying Doctor and the Type F were not working. They were stationary. I wonder if Lua or something has stopped working or something on my... It can happen now and then. Often requires like a restart and clearing out the Lua folder. But that's really unfortunate because they weren't operating as intended and not actually repairing everything, which is what they should do. Oh, and it looks like the Onyx Watcher have decided that we're going to have another battle. So we'll carry on with that looking at in a moment, because I can't reset the game now. Annoyingly, I can't also save it between that battle, so I hope they won't crash, because that'll be a pain. Right. Regardless, let us get ready to fight this battle. We're facing a load of Fletchers and Bison, so none of those annoying rhinos this time. But let us begin this bout. Looks like it's quite the lineup we have. The Rolling Crampage, I accidentally spawned that tank in the air, and a few other things are ready to go. The Benny Blade there, and then we have all our wonderful flyers up in the sky, ready to do their bombardments. Let's just go. Yes, straight away, all the Onyx Watch do fire their cram cannons, and in a absolutely horrifically powerful bombardment, all heading towards the Gatling Crampage there, towards the turret itself. So a lot of them miss, but a lot hit the base plate, thankfully throwing it away before too much damage is dealt. Oh yes, here we have my hovering laser thing. It's essentially, well, this is actually the craft I built first, and then I did the laser emplacement. So it has exactly the same turret and the same laser internally, though I tried to make it a little bit aesthetic, but I ran out of blocks. So the aesthetics is essentially just there because I could. It is an 80 AP 16K laser, so it does a lot of damage, particularly to anything with heavy armor. And it's a big flying at 200 meters using PID system, but it should easily be able to cut through basically anything there at all, particularly things like the Onyx Watch and any drone, particularly like Twin Guard. As you can see here, this laser is just cutting through those heavy armor beams at the front of the Onyx Watch craft. Yes, it's doing quite well. The huge amount of cram bombardment is still going on, and it is rather terrifying to observe. Seeing all those huge cram hits just hitting nearby all of our vehicles, and every now and then a direct hit causing the deletion of a significant number of blocks. Thankfully, the attacks are slightly dispersed so that the first couple of hits will normally knock the vehicle away far enough that the rest will end up missing, which is very good from my point of view. Here come the cram bombers, launching its crown bombs, but against a moving target, so they all miss, which was to be expected from the actual showcase. But the rest of them are doing quite nicely, not taking as much death as I was expecting against the Onyx Watch, but still quite a lot of death from the Onyx Watch because, come on, it's the Onyx Watch, they do a ridiculous amount of damage against land vehicles. The Gatling Crampage is actually surviving all this insane bombardment, which is really rather good. I was actually sort of expecting it to be defeated in these huge barrages. My laser craft there, firing through, coring out the AI, which is very, very useful, being able to disable the Onyx Watch craft very rapidly. Though not as rapidly as would be ideal, but they are just made out of so much heavy armour that even a high-powered laser system has difficulty. Though the crown bombers do now strike very hard. And so I take this opportunity to have a go at capturing some more Onyx Watch craft, and very in short order managed to do so. This is good because the repairs are going to cost a lot, and having captured a Fletcher there is going to do quite a bit in terms of supplying us with the materials to rebuild our forces, which is all very good. And there, the last few remnants of the Onyx Watch force disintegrate. And we captured a Fletcher, which is nice for a load of materials there, which is always good. But what did we lose? We lost the Hyena. It was a shame, that was quite a nice little design. Survived quite well throughout thick and thin. And the Rolling Gatling just took a ridiculous beating, as I expected it would. But yeah, that's quite messy. So we're being blockaded by the Onyx Watch. And this is going to be a real mess, because this force is designed to face the Twin Guard, well, ish. Now we're going to face the Onyx Watch. Let's see how they perform. Okay, so everything is set up. Try to be a big spread so they won't crash into each other and stop, and thus get blown to pieces. Let's see how they fare. I guess one big benefit is that the Onyx Watch are all really close together, so hopefully we'll receive a load of collision damage bonus against them. Though, I don't know how it will help. So as soon as I unpause the game, a load of the Onyx Watch craft get launched straight up into the sky, which is kind of amusing, but I don't think it actually helps me that much. Still, they are firing their crown cannons towards Shadow Swarmers, which is dangerous because they are made of light blocks and so get hurt by explosive damage. The missile tank there, firing its barrage of missiles, and unfortunately, my new flank cannon has already been destabilised, so it is slowly but surely falling out of the sky. I'm not entirely sure how it got damaged. It probably shot itself with that flat cannon, which is highly irritating. Though still, the flat cannon is firing, but against the Onyx Watch it is practically useless because it is a flat cannon, and firing against metal and heavy armour is not going to do anything. Still, the rest of the craft are doing very nicely. And there we have the cheese going in for a ramming attack. Unfortunately, it is ramming friendly at the same time, which is quite annoying. So again, I decide, right, I've got to try and take out some of these craft for capturing and repair purposes. So I know where the AI is, so make a beeline straight for it. So break in, and there we go. The first one's captured, and move directly over to the next one, quickly jumping in, and within a couple of shots, capture it straight away. It's at this point though I notice that there is a yellow health bar sitting at the top of the screen. We are also in a fight with the Twin Guard. This was entirely unexpected, and there they are. And so I suddenly realised, right, this is a bit of a problem. We're now facing not only the Onyx Watch, but the Twin Guard as well. The battle with the Onyx Watch is still going on quite strongly. There is a lot of blocks left in the Onyx Watch, so I feel that I've got to try and carry on and capture them as much as possible, so that then we have our forces able to face off against the Twin Guard without being on a fight against two fronts. So I think the Twin Guard and Onyx Watch are actually fighting each other, but that's not so much an issue to me because I am surrounding the Onyx Watch, and which means that the Twin Guard are hitting me, preferentially to the Onyx Watch. Still, I'm moving in to capture the last view of the Onyx Watch there, as I do think it is probably one of the best options. But at the same time, I'm trying to keep an overview of the battle occurring at the same time. It's a little bit of difficulty trying to juggle observing the battle and actually seeing, well, making sure we win by capturing as much as possible, which I know is not a exactly ideal way of playing because it isn't as interesting to view, but it is very important since I need the materials to replace the huge number of casualties we have sustained in this episode. It's around about a dozen casualties or so I think we've sustained so far, and that is not good for containing the enemy, since we didn't spawn in that many designs this episode, so we're gradually reducing our forces. And there we go, we have to see the flak cannon hits directly against that drone, but it doesn't do that much damage. So unfortunately these drones are made of metal and heavy armour, which again flak doesn't do much damage against, so I'd probably do it better with that flak cannon, turning it into a solid lump of high explosive death. The radius would be reduced down to around about 35 meter radius compared to the 180 meter it has at the moment, but that strike would do a ridiculous amount of damage. And here we have the last of the Twin Guard mechs just taking an absolute age to destroy because of all those repair tentacles. I'm probably going to have to just target the base in the future. Still, it is defeated in short order. Well, that was a little bit unexpected, having facing off the Onyx Watch and Twin Guard at the same time. But would we lose anything? No, we didn't. We just managed to keep the Micro Swarmers alive at the end there, and managed to take out all the Onyx Watch and everything quite well. Though I did have to step in and deal with a load of the Onagers myself, which is to be expected because they are quite tanky. Let's just scrap all of them for tons of materials, it seems. So you grabbed all that resources there, which makes it a little bit more safe for that combat force. I think that's it for this battle episode though. So I will end the episode there. So thank you very much for watching this episode of From the Depths, Ashes of the Empire Community Edition with myself, Anna Diffin. If you did enjoy the episode, please leave a like and or comment below, as it is always great to hear from you lot. Also, be sure to check out the rest of my channel for more From the Depths videos and other games, and be sure to swing by the Discord channel for more direct chats. Otherwise, that's it from me for now, and I shall see you next time. But until then, I'm out. Goodbye!